First, dozens gathered in Overland Park today for the Promise of Hope Luncheon. It's a fundraiser for the organization that gives foster kids a voice in court.
CASA of Johnson and Wyandotte counties trains volunteers to advocate for children in the foster care system, but a six-figure funding cut is threatening that work. One man who lived through the system tells KCTV5's Ali Espinosa the stakes couldn't be higher.
Ray Freeman is a business owner and a dad. But growing up, he had none of the stability that comes with that.
When you're in foster care, moving from home to home, having different social workers every time, you don't really get that.
That being a constant guiding hand. Freeman bounced through the foster care system in Wyandotte County, never knowing who'd be in his corner next.
I won't say people weren't there to support me, but there was no consistent.
And looking back, he says it was overwhelming.
If I kind of soak back into that time, it was just confusion. There was a whirlwind of emotions, right?
But Ray's story isn't unique. Right now, 145 kids right here in Johnson and Wyandotte counties are living it. CASA, meaning court-appointed special advocates, are trained volunteers that are paired up with these kids, meaning one caring adult and one consistent voice in court.
A caring adult in the life of any child helps improve their outcomes.
But Garner says that work is at risk. A six-figure funding cut last year has rippled ever since. She says it's threatened their ability to serve every child who needs them.
And so when we think about the community of children that your children, your grandchildren, your neighborhood children may be around, right, it supports all of their growth and development.
Now, Freeman built a life without that consistent voice in his life that he needed, but he'll tell you if he had that one person, it would have made all the difference. Reporting in Overland Park, Ali Espinosa, KCTV 5 News.